If you're in the online business space doing some kind of coaching or agency or info product, you've probably seen how everyone right now is doing content. I work closely with a guy called Paul Daly, who was the former CEO for Imangazi, and if you don't know who he is, he's one of the most well-known content creators in the planet. And he told Paul something that might surprise you. Iman told Paul that he was probably a worse business person because he was creating content, and because of that, what I've learned, what Paul and Iman also recognize, is that it's very hard to create intentional content and run a very successful business at the same time, because they're just both different wavelengths. But look, Iman isn't the only one who caught this trend early on. Andrew Tate, Luke Belmar, Alex Formosi, Grant Cardone, and all the other big players in the info space are very bullish on intentional content. They're building a business where they're the face to driving leads and sales, and they have a team working silently in the background to close and fulfill every single client. What this means is, if you don't become the face of your business in 2025 and beyond and have successful operations behind the scenes, you're likely going to be left behind. You've heard that we're in this trust recession, and it's been like that for years, but now more than ever, people are just pulling their credit cards like they used to do before. And the way to fix this is build trust with your audience, monetize this attention, and understand how to run the operations to have a predictable way of ethically just growing your business. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that. Realistically, what happens is you focus a lot on creating content, and then the business starts to fall apart, and you go back into business, and then the business is going well and the content starts to fall apart, and you go back into content, and you find yourself going back and forth, and you can't really focus on either. And because you can't focus on either, neither tends to grow. If this is you, totally normal. And if you're struggling with all of that, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can juggle content and business and something else you don't know you're missing, all with our internal C-suite formula, which is going to distinguish you from the run-of-the-mill, wannabe influencers and make you an advanced business owner. I want to be very clear. The goal with content is to grow your business and not turn you into this glorified influencer. We're here to grow your business, not just to make you famous. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're a coach, agency, info product business, and you're also a content creator. And you gotta understand there are two types of business nowadays. There's content creator first and business second, and there is business first, content second. And in either case, something is coming second, and you have to make sure that you have both ends covered as a primary responsibility. But obviously, you can only do one thing well at a time. And so because you can only do one thing well at a time, you have to make sure you do the highest leverage thing, which in today's content-driven economy is, well, normally making good converting content. Which means as you get leads, you get clients, and as you have to fulfill clients, all that stuff is either going to take away from content, or you have to find a way to make it all work. And what I've learned is there are two types of business and content. There are people who are barely making any money, and we're talking 10, 20, 30K months, who have not figured out how to fit content and business together, or the people who are making stupid amounts of money because they've learned and mastered the secret to doing content and business simultaneously, which is why you've seen them hit massive, super profitable growth.
How much have you done in info products?
Close to 100 million.
That's crazy.
And here's that specific secret. But if you don't know who I am, my name is Gus. I've made my coaching clients well over $30 million online in the last couple of years. And today, I want to teach you the same strategy they use daily so that you can also grow to 7 figures. The huge realization I had through mentoring around 1,000 coaches was that coaches, consultants, agencies are struggling with the fact that they're making content. Content gets some views, and that has you going back to business to monetize those views. Then before you know it, you're not working on content, so now you're lacking on leads, but you're trying to monetize what you already have, and you're constantly going through these cycles where you have some views, but then you're dying in business because you're trying to push content to get some attention, and then you switch to monetizing views, but then when you're monetizing views, you're not getting views for the next day because you can only do so much at the same time. And you're going through this rhythm where you realize it's really hard to do intentional content and really good business at the same time. If that's the case, you're probably like most of the clients that I've worked with, who go through these deep valleys of roller coaster performance. You're either in content mode getting views, but monetization sucks. And when you switch modes, you're getting more money, but no new leads. And life feels messy because, well, it is. And realistically, what you want it to look like is like this, when you can correlate attention and monetization. To grow your business, we know you really only need 3 things. You need attention, monetization, and operations. This is how our clients do it with our C-suite formula. And I'm going to give you everything about this method. Our internal worksheets, our SOPs, as of how we do everything with our clients, everything so that you can actually fix this issue as well. Realistically, if you're watching this, you're stuck in this weird cycle where you're trying to do everything, wear all hats, and I can tell you, man, when you're in that 10 to 50K a month market, really hard. It sucks. And it sucks because you're stuck. And if I have to take a guess, you're doing what everyone else is doing. You know, following the same advice that sounds like just boost some posts and that's gonna help you. But then you boost some posts and it's a waste of money because your operations can't handle more leads if you're getting any leads in the first place. And because you see that it's not performing, you schedule an hour a day in your busy calendar for recording content to see if that works. Then you feel like you have to hire a content agency that just costs an arm and a leg to edit your content that ends up being super basic. It doesn't hit KPIs with horrible scripts because you think good scripts and maybe good editing is going to help you blow up. Meanwhile, you try to make sure that you can record everything, but you know as well as I do that when a client hits you up with a fire and when something operational messes up, a SAP, an onboarding issue, whatever it is, man, it gets you out of content mode and you have to go and fix your operation, fix your business. So you end up doing that and not getting any content that day. And then realistically, your content slows down and you're paying your agency for nothing. And because that pain eats you up, you try and go back to content mode, only to see then that business goes back to being second priority and falls apart and it takes a week to get back into it. And maybe even worse, you have a setter in your DMs, but they keep complaining because there's not enough action in your DMs to even make it worth it. And now it's hitting you. Like none of this is actually working. But what's even worse is that you're now dealing with other issues. And I can tell you in full confidence that after consulting thousands of coaches, I see this same problem over and over again. And it's pissing me off. You see, you want more clients, but you don't know how to run effective ads, or there's no content strategy to help you get attention. Sometimes, even worse, leads don't see the value in your offer and no one's buying it from you, and you're like every other business out there, where everyone's just going to cheaper alternatives. You don't know what content to post to attract ideal clients and lead quality talks. You don't know how to manage DM conversations to get leads on sales calls, and there's no sales processes to even get more leads to show up to calls, let alone get them at a high percentage. And you're getting flooded with this "I have to think about it" objections. You realize you can't use those tactics you keep seeing on IG because this is not a one-dimensional problem. You're confused about what's the best funnel to run, if you have to do a free group, a school group, a paid group, an ebook, a high-ticket offer, all these things, and you have this roller coaster of revenue months and really low margins where you can't sometimes even pay yourself. And when you finally have a good month, it feels like it was just a good luck hit and you have no idea how to replicate this. But I want to let you know that none of this is your fault. It makes me super happy.
In large part to all your help. So I'm endlessly grateful. So thank you.
You've been lied to by gurus, course creators, and money-hungry people who want to indoctrinate you into believing that their way is the only way. You've been lied to by people selling information to the masses, telling you this like one-trick ponies and temporary tactics are the only way of doing things. Trying different funnels, shout-outs, ads, software, leaving you just busier and more confused. And what's crazy is that they're not necessarily wrong. Like all these tactics that the gurus are teaching you have one simple goal: build trust. But what I found is that most efficient way to do that is through good content, good offer mechanics, and polished internal systems. And all of the biggest coaches and consultants agree with me. And in reality, you have to understand this very simple concept. And this is the formula you need to pay attention to. There's really only 3 types of people involved in every single business. You have one, the person who gets the attention, the person who monetizes that attention, and the person with the skill set to do all the operations. This is why most of the 7- and 8-figure companies you see aren't a one-man or woman show, but have multiple hats in their business responsible for multiple business units. You know, the person who gets the attention is somebody who's deeply focused on content, producing videos, scripting, filming, and being the face of the company. And now the person who monetizes that attention can make sure that attention is converted into cash. So someone that can architect funnels, VSLs, copywriting, understands how to do DM setting, and can close at a high rate. Then you have the person with the skill set to do the operations, who optimizes sales processes, SOPs, team operations, automation, CRM, organizational structures, and even hiring. And you're probably only doing one of those at a time, and the other 2 are failing. When you focus on just one, you feel the other areas of your business start to slip, and you end up juggling plates and trying to sustain 3 business units at the same time, which either leads to burnout or stalled growth, or both. You're only one person, so you can't be in 3 places at once. Think about all 3 business units as 3 different locations. You can't be in Miami, Madrid, and Dubai at the same time. So what makes you think you can actively be in 3 different business units at the same time? Okay, sure, you can do this when you're starting out, but not when you want to grow. Every successful business has all 3 business units, and you can carry all these responsibilities when you're in that 10 to 50K a month mark, because eventually all these responsibilities start growing so big and so far apart that you can't carry that anymore. Understandably, most of the time you're going to have to be the visionary of the company, like the face of the company. The issue is creating attention and monetizing attention are two different skill sets, and creating attention and running the operations of the business are very different skill sets. But yes, when you start, you can do all three. But as you grow, so do your responsibilities. And as you grow, you start to realize these responsibilities are really full-time roles of their own. But that's when things begin to scramble. You see, the person who gets the attention, you have to script, film, edit, do quality assurance, redistribute content, ideate, create Notion documents, execute on long form, film, produce podcasts, be on top of trends, post consistently to be on top of mind. And you're probably right now super stressed because that IG bubble in your IG is probably empty and people are not seeing you, so you're stressed. And that responsibility alone just keeps growing. And you have to also be the person who monetizes that attention. And you have to know the science behind powerful copywriting, understand email best practices, sequences, workflows, be able to create converting scripts and intentional content, be able to position yourself as the authority in the market, build up pipelines on lead stages, create follow-up sequences, understand how to close sales, set in the DMs and convert leads into cash flow. If you have those two, logically, you also have to have the person or be the person who understands business operations. And this person, you have to know how to do customer relationship management, time to value and customer journey, automations for onboarding, customer success, develop business integrations like High Levels, Zapier, Stripe. You have to understand scaling strategies, pricing structures, be able to do ads, hire, set KPIs, meeting cadences, team structures, and you also have to be a leader. But at a certain point, you probably know you can't expect yourself to do all of that, because not only are you also running the business, but you're also trying to be a good significant other, you're trying to be a good partner, a good brother, a mom, a friend. You're also trying to stay in shape, living a life outside of this, because you're not fully, completely working all hours of the day in your business. And even if you have 24-hour productive days, the mental bandwidth of being in each of these business units is insane. Michael Gerber famously said, if your business depends on you, you don't own a business, you have a job. And it's the worst job in the world because you're working for a lunatic. So what do you do? The single biggest reason you haven't been able to predictively scale is simply not understanding this concept. Eventually, because those responsibilities grow so big and so far apart, you don't have the bandwidth anymore to handle all three, and you find yourself in this dilemma of business, where if you want to delegate those responsibilities, you need people who are really good at what they do and can grow the company, but they come at a very high cost. So forget about hiring people off of Upwork, Fiverr, online jobs. For example, a good CMO that can monetize attention and can do it very well, they can go for about $15K a month, if not more. Or an excellent COO who can understand the scaling side of business, they can go to up as much as $20K, $30K. In fact, one of my mentors who was a COO for a multi-8-figure company was making $80K a month. And you're thinking, you see Iman Gadzhi, Alex Hormozi, Cole Gordon, Russell Brunson, Tai Lopez, you think that they're just good at everything. But that's not the case. You have Iman and he has a huge team. He has a CEO, a CMO, and you have Alex, well, he has Layla by his side and he has a team of 60 people. If not even more, and Tai Lopez is the same thing. They are really good at delegating to really good people. So the dilemma and the paradox here being, you need this talent to grow, but you need to grow to afford this talent. Because at this stage, you don't have the cash to pay for the talent to grow. So because of this, you don't get anywhere. This is where more businesses make one of two bad mistakes that cost them tens of thousands of dollars and probably decades of their time. Which is, number one, they think they have a systems issue where they think they can automate everything and think lack of automation is why they don't have time, or maybe lack of hiring. And so they make these bad hires, these hires don't succeed, they churn, and frankly, they don't meet any of your company KPIs, and they don't actually take things off your plate. Or you spend money on programs that speak about systems to see how you can automate stuff, but really there's no application on where you are in business. Or number two, they think they have a knowledge issue because they're so scatterbrained, they think realistically they are not good enough for this. So they try and find a mastermind that they think is going to teach them how to be good enough to do any of this. But in reality, you're here solving the wrong problem. It's not an automations issue, it's not a knowledge issue, it's not a systems issue, it's literally a bandwidth issue. You don't have enough time in the day and mental bandwidth the way God created you to do all of this stuff, which leads you to waste more of your time, more of your money, and it keeps you running in circles. And again, none of this is your fault. Since day one, you've been taught the wrong way. Because your real problem isn't lack of knowledge, but lack of time, lack of focus, lack of the ability to do everything that you need to be able to grow. And you can't delegate this to a full-time CMO or CEO or COO. You can't afford them. because of the dilemma we're in. But what you need is a full-time CMO and a full-time COO and sometimes even a full-time CEO to help you and mentor you through everything that you're trying to do. But just like we went over, there's a catch-22 in business where you can't afford the talent because you're small enough or you don't have that cash yet, but having them is going to get you the cash that you need. So you need people who have all of that, but you can't afford it. So the solution that I found that gives you all of that is finding someone who's done it in multiple industries across multiple levels where you're only just buying a fraction of their time so you can install them in your team. And then realistically, you're leveraging their expertise, their knowledge, their contacts, their mental power to do all the things you don't have time to. And you don't need full-time bandwidth from someone who's run a multi-million-dollar a month company because you're not there yet. And they can do with a fraction of the bandwidth what you've been trying to accomplish all this time. What I found is super effective in helping coaches, consultants, agencies, and info product businesses in this rut, in this dilemma of business that we're in that keeps them from scaling to 7 figures, is installing something that I call a C-suite system. I call this my CMO framework, which is content, monetization, and operations framework. And this is what I deploy for serious coaches and consultants who want to get out of the day-to-day and take their business to the next level. This allows you to have experts who are not full-time in your business, but still have the experience and understanding on how to operate a business to scale to 7 figures without incurring so much of the expenses. See, they do it with you, and then you can just focus on getting the attention that you need. When installed correctly, you will finally gain that clarity so that you don't have to make those expensive mistakes that I told you before. If you think this is where you're in business and you think these are the problems that you're going through right now, these are the problems that you're struggling with, and this is the unfortunate roller coaster of business that you're going through right now, then I actually made a training originally for my private clients, but I just made this public, and this is going to show you exactly the step-by-step process on how to take my clients to solve everything they're going through right now. It's going to show you all of our internal SOPs, our flowcharts, our Google Sheets and graphic that we use for our private clients to get them out of this horrible loophole. And it's going to do one more thing for you. Because listen, we're entering a new era. An era where leads are more sophisticated than ever, and just posting content or trying these new tactics isn't cutting it. Everything is changing. And business needs to be treated like a machine where all those 3 responsibilities work in conjunction with insight that have been proven time and time again in different industries. I'm going to show you how to use this shift in your favor and take advantage of this wave and show you what works right now and exactly what you need to be doing right now. So I'll drop the link to that video down below. It's completely free, and I would love for you to finally break off this loophole. My goal is very simple. I just want to attract a flood of ideal clients your way with this very simple concept that you can actually implement today. After helping around 1,000 different businesses, it's the same thing over and over again. But if you want to skip that video and just have my team and I do it for you, I'll leave another link below to schedule a call with me directly. But if you're still not sure yet, dive into the other video where I'm going to show you everything for free. I'll see you soon.